Today is payday, so let's budget my bi-weekly paycheck using the cashless budgeting system. So of course I have my budgeting workbook in front of me. This is my paycheck budget worksheet. This is where all of the planning happens when it comes to me spending my money. So the very first thing I do when I'm budgeting out my paycheck or I'm just in my routine or whatever, the first thing I do on the night before I'm actually paid is see how much money is in that checking account, because a lot of times I have money still sitting there and I don't necessarily put it on my worksheet, and then the numbers are not adding up when I'm doing the math or I'm looking at my accounts and stuff like that, and I'll be like, dang, I forgot to put what I had left in there. So that's the very first thing that you want to do. You want to know how much money you already have sitting in that account before your paycheck actually hit. Then once your paycheck actually hits, then you want to come over to your calendar. So this is my budget or my bill calendar, I would say, because I have expenses on here as well. So I have I guess you can call it my bill and expense calendar. And on here at the beginning of the month, I just plan out how I want to spend my money. If there's a due date to certain things, then I want to come over here and put it on here. If there's birthdays, if there are birthday parties, my son may need something on a certain day, or if there's some sneakers that's going to be coming out, all of the things that actually has a date to it, it actually goes on this calendar. Now, I try to give myself money for food every single week. However, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to the grocery store every single week. Usually when I go to the grocery store, it's usually to stock up on the things that we had ran out of. I know the things that we normally run out of is like milk and cereal and stuff like that, because my son just like to eat cereals like morning, noon, and nighttime. And everybody else in the house too like to do that. Like right now, currently, I think we're out of milk all over again. And I bought, the last time we went to the grocery store, I bought 2 jugs of milk. And I kept one in the other refrigerator until the other one ran out, so they just won't be dogging milk around here. But it seems like it doesn't even matter. They still running through milk over here and cereal, and I think it's gonna be time for me to go back and at least pick up those items. Now if y'all have a better way to do like grocery lists or a better way to kind of like plan out food and stuff like that, let me know that in the comments. I've also thought about like just planning out grocery shopping around what I actually want to cook for the week, and maybe that will help me kind of like keep the spending low on the food. But I'm open to any suggestions that y'all may have. I'm not the expert when it comes to the grocery list or the food category, because you know your girl can eat up a budget, and you know your girl tend to go over her food budget. So that's neither here nor there. Now, what I like to do on this calendar, this bills and expense calendar, I like to highlight everything. So y'all know I'm a highlighter type of person. It just looks good. It pops out. It sticks to my eye, or it catches my eye when I'm looking at it or whatever. So everything that was in blue was taken care of with the previous paycheck. Then everything in pink is going to be taken care of with this paycheck. So I see that there's a lot of pink on this calendar, and I'm like, oh my God, like what all do we got to pay? Why is it so many things highlighted on here? So basically, what I do on my paycheck budget worksheet is I write down all of these expenses and I put it on the paycheck budget worksheet and see if I have enough money to take care of these bills and expenses. So now before we get into writing all of the bills and expenses down on the paycheck budget worksheet, you already know how much money you have left in your account. You already know what you got coming up because you just looked on your bills and expense calendar and saw that, okay, well, you got a lot of bills and expenses coming up, like where the money at. So now this is where you're actually gonna plan out the paycheck. You're gonna write on your paycheck budget worksheet your income that you budgeted for. Now I like to budget at the lowest amount that I've received, and the lowest amount that I've received this year was around $1,900. However, since I've gotten a raise, everything has been going back up to the $2,000 mark. I think I'm going to give it one more paycheck in the month of August. And then if it's over $2,000 again, I'm going to go back to my regular $2,000 bi-weekly budget. So for me, I budgeted at the lowest, $1,900, but my paycheck was actually $2,190.41. I told you that I did have money remaining in my checking account, so I put $63.33. Now on the budgeted portion, I put no money there because I don't want to get my hopes up of saying, yeah, I want to have $500 left over here. And then I include that in my budget and I start planning out my check, and then I don't have enough money in there. So I always just say no money is going to be left over there, because that's the worst case scenario, that no money is left over there. I'm only going to get $1,900, and that's the worst case scenario with my paycheck. So that's what I like to do. Even with the money I have remaining, even though I know it's going to be something over there, I'm going to budget at the worst case scenario. So for this pay period, my total paycheck or my total income is $2,253.74. Now this is where you actually writing out everything that you're seeing highlighted on that bills and expense calendar. This is where you're going to write it out right here, and you're going to put the date on the side that it actually is supposed to come out of your checking account, because you know everything that I have is set up on automated draft except for the things I have to go in the store for, such as food, gas, and that's pretty much it. Even my aftercare fee for my son is set up on automated draft as well. Now once I write all of that stuff out, I'm gonna put the budgeted amount. Now you may not necessarily know how much each item is gonna be. What I like to do is I like to look at previous months. I like to look at previous years and see what was it last year, what was it all of this year. I think we have enough time in this year because we're in August, so you can go back 7 months and see, okay, well, how much was I taking out for a merit payment? Was it always $4? If it was every single month was $4, you can budget $4 for that expense. Now if you go back and I say, okay, well, short-term disability, was that always $82.44 every time that I was paid or whatever? All you got to do is just go back and look at all of the previous months and see what it was, and then you can budget out accordingly. I like to be realistic with my budget, so I always put my fun spending in. I put food in, and food consists of out to eat and groceries this month because I'm trying to just be disciplined on the amount of money that I said that I was going to spend for food overall. Now I'm having a dilemma this month over this paycheck. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm having a dilemma with this paycheck because your girl love her some sneakers just as much as I love food, y'all. I think the second best thing that I love are sneakers. Now, I'm a Jordan 1 type of girl, and I just love sneakers. And there's the Shattered Backboard Jordan 1s that comes out next week, or maybe this week at the time of you watching this video. And I put it in my budget. I put it in my budget of $160 because I can wear a kid size. I'm a kid size 4.5. They cost $140, and I'm thinking with the taxes and stuff like that, it shouldn't be no more than $160. However, I'm on this 75 hard personal finance challenge. If you have not watched my video of me starting this 75 hard personal finance challenge, I'm gonna link it after this video. Please go and watch it, because every single day on TikTok I've been documenting, even over here on YouTube, but I've been doing it more so on my YouTube shorts, and I've been checking in with you guys every single week. But every single day I'm tracking my spending. There's no unplanned spending. It's going to be 15 minutes of financial education, me reviewing my budget every single day, and then me making one small wealth action every single day. And with me even putting the shoes on the budget, which is not unplanned. It's not like, oh, these shoes just came out, I just want to throw it in my budget. No, it was already planned in my budget at the beginning of the month, because I already knew at the beginning of the year that I wanted these shoes, because I had already put it on my to-do list or my calendar or whatever. And now that I'm on this challenge, I'm just like, do I really want to spend the $160? Because your girl has spent so much money with paying off her credit cards, paying off the collection account last month. Last month I spent over $5,700 paying off these cards, and now I'm just in the process of rebuilding my savings back up. But on the other side of me is like, girl, you want these shoes, girl, you like you some shoes or whatever. So I'm kind of like still debating about it. I will let y'all know on an updated video if I actually got the shoes or not. But let me know in the comments if you were on this journey, if you was on the same journey that I'm on, with just spending all of this money paying off your credit cards and your collection account, and now you just rebuilding your savings, and then eventually you're gonna move on to paying off your student loans and paying off your house. Would you go ahead and just buy these sneakers? They're only $160 that you're budgeting for. Let me keep this in mind as well. I do give myself some fun spending. So for the month of August, let's see how much fun spending do I give myself. So for fun spending, I'm giving myself $150 this month, and I still include the sneakers in the budget as well. I don't know if you actually could see that right here. So up on the miscellaneous / sinking funds, I give myself $150, and then I put $160 aside this month for sneakers, and then I give my son $40 because sometimes he have expenses that want to come up. He want things in the store, he need a haircut, different little things like that. And then I also put money aside for miscellaneous spending. Now y'all know my dad is still in the hospital. He's been suffering. I don't know if I actually mentioned it on the previous video, but first he had cancer, he had lung cancer, he did radiation and treatment and all that type of stuff for that, and he was able to ring the bell after his treatment was done. However, the cancer has now spread it to his brain, so he had to have brain surgery and all of that type of stuff to remove the tumors off his brain. So he got that done. So I've been going back and forth to the hospital, and right now currently they're not validating the tickets for us to park, so I have to pay for parking. So sometimes I'm down there a couple of hours, sometimes I'm only down there just an hour, things like that. So lately I've been, back and forth paying for gas, and then also I've been picking up things, picking up something to eat from McDonald's. It's really not no excuse, but still I've been picking up food to eat because I haven't been feeling like cooking when I get home because it's so late in the evening. So I've been picking up stuff like that as well, but I haven't been doing nearly as much out to eat spending as I've normally have been doing. Now, if I had to guess, so far on miscellaneous spending, I have spent around $10 on miscellaneous spending because that's come from the parking deck for my dad at the hospital. And then for food, if I would have to guess, I would say I probably spent maybe $150 so far on food. And mind you, I'm giving myself $300 this month for food. So yeah, I'm giving myself $300 a month for food this month, and we're halfway through the month, so I feel like that's sufficient. 150 should be left in the budget. Maybe a little bit lower than that now that now thinking about it. I don't think I have been spending that much money, especially not on out to eat. A lot of this was coming from Walmart, going to the grocery store, because that refrigerator and that freezer is stocked up, please believe that. But I have been grabbing some McDonald's. I spent $20 on yesterday grabbing McDonald's on the way home, and I have been getting a frappe because I haven't really just been feeling like eating. I just get something for my son, and I just grab me a frappe while he gets the food, and I've been kind of keeping the budget down that way as well. Now, after I write out all of the bills and expenses and put what I think the cost is going to be, because I budget my bills and expenses at the highest amount. Now, when I budget my paycheck at the lowest amount and budget my bills at the highest amount, both of these are my worst case scenario. So I feel like, or me personally, I feel like by me doing it this way, I'm going to always have some type of money remaining, because not all the times in my paycheck is going to be the worst case scenario, and not all of the time the bills and expenses is going to be at the worst case scenario. So at the end of the day, it's going to leave me with some money left over somewhere, whether it be in the gas budget, whether it be in the food budget. Well, it don't typically be in the food budget. Y'all already know that we got to work on that, but it may be somewhere in the budget I can find some money that I haven't necessarily spent what I actually budget for, and that's always a good thing. Now, after I do all of that, I just take my income and I subtract all of the bills and expenses, and I see, okay, well, what do we have left remaining from this amount? So when I total up all of my bills and expenses for this pay period, my total come up to $1,121.74, and that is including my retirement and my investing as well. I always include those in there just so I can get like an overall amount, because I like to get the exact amount. Even though retirement and investing is not spending money, it's actually saving, I still like to include it in there so I can have accurate numbers. So when I take my income of $2,253.74 and I subtract my expenses of $1,121.74, I am left with $1,132 right on the dot. And I was like, what the? I think that's pretty awesome that your income, the change part actually lined up with the expense part. So I thought that was kind of weird or whatever, but I'm like, okay, we got over $1,000 left in this budget. So I do know that, okay, it's going to be time for mortgage payment to come back up on the 1st. Do I want to take care of the mortgage payment with the next check and use all of that check to take care of that? No, you don't necessarily want to do that. I like to take out something from the previous checks and put it to the side, just so I won't have to put a big chunk of money when it comes that check right before it's time to pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out half of the mortgage and utilities, because I pay all of that stuff together. I have a joint account that I share with someone, and we put a set amount in that account. So $875 for mortgage and utilities. That's half of the amount that's going to be due come September 1st, and that's going to be taken care of with this paycheck as well. As I'm going to be putting $200 in savings, as well as I'm going to be leaving $57 remaining in this account for just miscellaneous spending. If I go to my dad, doctor, hospital, whatever, I have to still pay for parking and stuff like that, it will come out of that miscellaneous spending. Hopefully I won't get a flat tire or anything like that. It will have to come out in that miscellaneous spending, things like that. And that is how I get it to what is called a zero-based budget. And that's basically me taking my income, subtracting all of my bills and expenses, and getting it down to zero. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna have $0 in my checking account or my savings account or anything like that. It just means that every single dollar that I had coming in now has a job to do. So if I want to know where did $12 come from, I can look on my expense tracker and I can see, once I write that transaction down, where it actually came from and how it was actually spent. So there's no question asked on where did my money go? You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of times I know we can get paid on Friday and we be broke by Monday. But that is not going to be you, because you're going to be joining this 75 Hard Personal Finance Challenge and getting in control of your spending. I'm going to go ahead and link the budget bundle down below so you can get started with the 75 Hard Personal Finance Challenge. Make sure you go and check that video out, and make sure you comment you're in so we can check up on each other, so you can jump right in with your journey. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.